In this video, I'm going to go through the points that I missed in the last one, which are using HDRP lit shaders, mask maps, Materialize, character models from Mixamo.com, VFX Graphs, and 3D textures from Blender. If you haven't seen my last video, check out the links in the description because I suggest watching that first. Also, check out this scene because it only includes characters and platforms, none of that graphical stuff that can be very demanding on your machine. I think one of the most confusing things about HDRP is the shaders. They're one of the very first things you'll encounter, but they're radically different from the ones used in legacy 3D render pipeline, or URP. I'm not going to talk about custom shaders in this video, but if you understand HDRP lit shaders, it'll at least get rid of one of those initial roadblocks that a lot of people encounter. First, you have to understand mask maps. A mask map contains 4 different types of texture data in one texture. How is this possible? As you know, a digital image has 3 different channels, RGB, red, green, and blue. If you add alpha channel, that's 4. You can add 4 different types of data into each channel. If you read the Unity manual, metallic data goes into red, occlusion data goes into green, detail mask goes into blue, and smoothness goes into alpha. In red channel, red means metallic, so the redder an area is, the more metallic it is, meaning it reflects light like metal. Blacker means non-metallic, the opposite, or less shiny. And it's the same with green channel, the ambient occlusion map. Greener means that the area is receiving more light, blacker means that the area is receiving less light, so it's more occluded. You get the idea. So you can have 4 different textures combined into one, which will obviously save memory, but at the same time, you can have some good details in your materials. The question now is, how do you create 4 different textures? For that, check out this video where I use a free app called Materialize. There's a lot of free textures if you just Google things, and for free you can create a bunch of materials like this. Materialize will give you 4 different textures, but if you don't know how to use Photoshop, you don't know how to put them into 4 different channels. Luckily, we have another free tool called Texture Packer by Andy. You can drag the entire folder into Unity, and under Windows, Channel Packer, you can access this tool. And it's pretty straightforward. Red goes into red, green goes into green, and so on. Again, metallic is red, occlusion is green, detail mask is blue, and smoothness is alpha. I'm not using the blue channel for now, but for the most part, by using these free tools plus free textures that you can find online, you can create your own materials with your own settings. Remapping here, for example, refers to the minimum and maximum strength applied to your material. You can also have pixel displacement, add height map, and have different amplitude. Or you can have tessellation shaders, which can give you more details for the surface. You'll notice that the materials don't look exactly the same as you see in Materialize, but that's probably because Unity is using a very different render pipeline. Don't worry too much about it. If you spend enough time experimenting and understanding the different options and values, you should be able to achieve the look that you like. In case with Mixamo.com, you get funny results if you download and import directly into an HDRP project. My workaround is using the legacy 3D render pipeline to import it, meaning I use standard shaders first. Once you extract textures and materials in the traditional pipeline, you can now drag the files into an HDRP project. Simply drag the files in and create a new material using HDRP lit shaders, and you go through the same process of using the texture packer to create mask maps. For some of the Mixamo models, you might have textures that you're unfamiliar with. Refer to this page. Specular goes into red and glossiness goes into alpha. And then again, you play around with the settings and see what you like. You can use VFX Graphs for either URP or HDRP. I'm not focusing on VFX at the moment, so I simply recreated what I had with the old Shuriken system. It's very basic, which is rendering some textures while changing values like alpha, colors, size, and velocity. But with the VFX Graph, you have more options for a lot better performance. It'll come in handy later on. You can search for and install the visual effect graph in the package manager. I have some very basic examples in my project. For example, you can double click on this white head and see the visual graph. All I'm doing is rendering this texture. I don't want the pivot to be at the center of the texture. I want it here, so -y. I'm spawning 3 of them. Lifetime, meaning how long each of them lasts, is randomized somewhere between 0.2 and 0.35 seconds. I also want it to move, so I set an upward velocity between 0.5 and 1, and then I rotate it so instead of just going straight up, it goes into a randomized direction. I add a little more randomness by adding randomized scale. In terms of rendering, I want the texture to face the camera. I want a sudden increase in size in the beginning from small to big, and then gradually back to small towards the end. In terms of alpha, I want it invisible in the beginning and end, but show just a little bit at this point at 20% of its lifetime. I'm not making any color changes to the texture, so it's all white. The only difference is I want it to be a little more visible in the beginning, so there's a little bit of intensity there. This is one of the most basic uses of textures in VFX Graphs, but certainly you can do a lot cooler things. For more detailed info, I recommend this channel. He does shader graphs, the old Shuriken system, and VFX Graphs, so I think you'll find his videos very helpful. You can also check out Brackeys, all links are in the description, but know that there's so much info out there for free, so Google stuff, find examples, and play around with the settings until you're comfortable and understand how they work. Making 3D textures is easy. You install Blender, it's free, X to delete all the unnecessary stuff. Shift-A and select text. Press Tab to start editing your text. If you go here, you can start changing the settings. If you go to geometry, you can extrude and give it some thickness, and you're done. For foreign languages like Korean, you can go to your notepad, type your text, and paste it into Blender. It'll only show if you select the font of that language. You can go to Google Fonts at fonts.google.com and download whatever fonts you want. If you're using Windows 10, download, unzip the files, open, and click on Install to install the font to your system. Once you're done creating the model, save the Blender file and you can simply drag it into your Unity project. We just want the model, nothing else, so uncheck those. And you can now turn this into a prefab. Use whatever materials that you want, make it shiny or whatever. And there you have it. So that's it for this video. I've recently started experimenting with ML agents. Instead of using state machines and navigation meshes, I'm thinking about implementing machine learning to control enemy characters. I'll make videos on that once I feel comfortable with the settings. Let me know if you have any questions or comments. You can reach me on my Discord server. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.